I'm an expert at turning gay men straight. Ethan was obsessed with raising snakes and showed zero interest in women. His mother, Mrs. Miller, suspected he might be gay and deliberately planted me by his side, demanding I make him develop attraction toward females. To complete this mission, I went all out, even sacrificing myself. Ethan became addicted, coiling snakes around my wrists to keep me trapped. But later, he fell for another girl. Since she feared reptiles, he emptied his entire supentarium. I knew he'd truly fallen this time, mission accomplished. So I submitted my resignation to Mrs. Miller and bolted. Chapter 1. When Mrs. Miller first approached me, I refused outright. My previous 2-inch successes with straightening men were pure coincidence. Those guys hadn't been that gay to begin with. This specialized work wasn't my forte. Yet Mrs. Miller lingered, tearfully lamenting the Miller family's degenerate values. Her eldest son had a boyfriend, the second daughter a girlfriend, while the third son topped them all by getting sex change surgery in Thailand. Their last hope rested on Ethan, whose life revolved solely around work, snakes, and hanging out with his bros. Mrs. Miller fretted he might either develop bestial tendencies or fall for a male friend. After 3 desperate visits, I firmly declined. "Ma'am, I really can't handle this job. At this rate, their family probably didn't have a single straight person outside their literal closets." Mrs. Miller pulled a stack of photos from her purse. "Ivy, this is my son. Look." I casually picked up a picture and froze. Damn. Movie star handsome. Chiseled jawline. Intense gaze. Rebellious aura radiating from his brow, exactly my type. I wavered. Maybe I should reconsider. Before I finished, she produced a check. $5 million up front. If you make him interested in women, or better yet, make him fall for another girl, $50 million bonus. My eyes locked onto those zeros. Auntie, let's not talk about money. I grabbed the pen, signing the prepped contract with fangirl enthusiasm. When do I start? Not that I'm easily bought, she just made an offer I physically couldn't refuse. Mrs. Miller had scripted my debut perfectly. Ethan's hotel room number. Mango juice spiked into his drink. He's allergic. Me swooping in to rescue him during the allergic reaction. Classic damsel saves hero meet cute. Except reality derailed. When I arrived, Ethan lay sprawled on the sofa. Despite the AC blasting, he'd unbuttoned his shirt to reveal sculpted abs glistening with sweat, a gym-honed physique that made me stare like a starving woman at a buffet. He looked extremely uncomfortable, breathing heavily. Remembering my actual purpose, I quickly approached and asked him what was wrong according to the plan. The moment I touched his hand, I froze slightly. Ethan's body felt unnaturally hot. Had allergic reactions evolved now? Instead of rashes, was overheating the new symptom? Bewildered, I studied his flushed face and clenched jaw. Though his eyes remained clear, his lips parted to coldly utter 3 words, "Get out." How could I leave? I needed to take him to the hospital. "Are you feeling unwell?" I asked with concern, my hands exploring tentatively. "Here?" My fingers brushed his lean waist. "Or here?" I pressed against his long, straight thigh. When my palm grazed the firm contours of his chest, Ethan inhaled sharply, his gaze darkening. Mrs. Miller's frantic message arrived then, explaining Ethan had drunk the wrong glass the spiked wine meant for his father. "Leave immediately," she urged. Finally understanding, I stared at Ethan's increasingly hazy eyes and fumbled toward the door. 2 steps. That's all I managed before he pinned me against the wall. "Wrong room card," I babbled nervously. "Just wanted to help you to the hospital. I'll go now." His feverish breath hit my neck as he rasped, "I need help." The plea hung between us. "Will you?" Though I'd mentally prepared for this scenario when Mrs. Miller recruited me. The suddenness shocked me. Initially resisting, I tried to retreat. Ethan's sweat-dampened hair clung to his forehead, his breathing ragged as he fought for control. Any boyfriend? He managed. No. Relief flashed through his stormy eyes. Tilting my chin up, he murmured, "Stay with me then." His thumb brushed my lower lip. "I'll take care of you. 20,000 monthly allowance." When his mouth claimed mine, all rational thought dissolved. His hand guided mine down the landscape of his body, the heaving chest, ridged abdomen, the V-line disappearing beneath fabric. Though well-versed in theory, actual experience overwhelmed me. Yet between the financial offer and his devastating allure, resistance crumbled. "Okay," I whispered shakily. "Mrs. Miller's worries proved unfounded. Ethan displayed not just interest, but relentless enthusiasm. The entire night became a marathon of exploration, his stamina defying reason. What I'd imagined as gradual progression erupted into full intensity immediately. After that night, he seemed to have unlocked a new world. Ethan developed an insatiable appetite, demanding to share my bed every night with his emerald snake coiling around my wrists and ankles, rendering me helpless to resist his desires. Even my tearful pleas for mercy went unheeded. Mrs. Miller felt both thrilled and conflicted about the situation. While delighted her son finally had a woman in his life, she resented that I remained merely Ethan's trophy mistress rather than a proper girlfriend. Initially, I shared her frustration. I desperately wished he'd find a real partner after discovering feminine charms, as his relentless stamina overwhelmed me. Yet gradually, I grew accustomed to this arrangement. Ethan honed his skills in pleasuring me, and beneath his arrogant exterior emerged unexpected attentiveness and generosity. Over the year, he gifted me jewelry and properties worth over $6 million. During my birthday celebration, the flickering candlelight illuminated his features as he smiled, singing happy birthday with such sincerity that my breath caught. For the first time, someone remembered my existence with cake, presents, and genuine warmth. Clasping my hands, I made a secret wish to preserve this fragile happiness. But my lifelong streak of bad luck held true. Within days of that perfect moment, Ethan found his soulmate. Sophia entered the picture, a girl from even humbler beginnings than mine. Her gambler father had sold her to redeem debts, delivering her as literal prize in underground fighting rings. When I first saw Sophia bound ringside with a rag stuffed in her mouth, two sweaty broods battering each other for ownership rights, her white sundress and cascading hair created such stark vulnerability that even I wanted to protect her. I noticed immediately Ethan wasn't watching the match. His gaze remained fixed on Sophia. My heart plummeted. A week later, Ethan stood me up for our Thai dinner date, his first broken promise in our entire arrangement. Rumor said he'd entered the fighting ring himself. No opponent dared strike the Miller heir seriously, granting him an effortless victory and possession of Sophia. Apparently, he'd spent those 7 days obsessing over her. Sighing, I consumed both dinner portions alone. Returning home, I found staff relocating the serpent terrarium. The housekeeper explained the new girl feared snakes, so Ethan ordered their removal. I froze. Those snakes were Ethan's prized possessions. He'd never accommodated my own phobia, yet now dismantled their habitat for this newcomer? The brutal truth crystallized: he'd genuinely fallen for her. Pretending indifference proved impossible, but I consoled myself with completing Mrs. Miller's mission. Did this mean my $50 million payday was secured? Energized by this thought, I headed to draft my resignation letter, determined to claim what I'd earned. But I never expected Ethan to return at this moment. My resignation letter was written with heartfelt sincerity, detailing every effort I'd made to straighten him out. In the closing lines, I vowed to stay out of Ethan's life forever, hoping Mrs. Miller would appreciate my dedication and increase my compensation. By the time I finished drafting on my phone at midnight, I decided to sleep on it before sending. Exhaustion pulled me under immediately. Half asleep hours later, familiar lips roused me. Someone was unbuttoning my pajama top while kissing me breathless. My body instinctively arched toward Ethan's touch. But memories of Sophia made me feign sleep. After lingering kisses failed to wake me, he finally withdrew. The real nightmare came later. I dreamed Ethan discovered my true motives, that I'd been paid to fix him. Enraged by the deception, he expelled me from the Miller estate, clawed back every cent including the initial $5 million, leaving me destitute on cold streets. I woke trembling, sheets damp with sweat. The lingering fear crystallized when I found Ethan propped against silk pillows, my phone glowing in his hand. His exposed chest glinted in moonlight as he idly traced patterns on my spine. "Why did you wake so suddenly, Ivy?" His thumb hovered over my screen. "Just a bad dream." I reached casually for the device. "We should sleep." "Not yet." His fingers trapped mine. "There's something I need clarified." My throat tightened as he loomed above, twirling a strand of my hair around his finger. "Care to explain this, darling?" He tilted the screen to reveal Mrs. Miller's message, frowny face, "Good work." The timestamp showed 2:17 a.m. My survival instincts kicked in. "Your mother approved of how I've been caring for you. She noticed you'd gained some healthy weight recently." Ethan's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Did she now?" His thumb scrolled upward through our supposedly deleted chat history. "How remarkably professional you've been." Ethan's eyes curved into crescents devoid of warmth as he studied me. "That's not what I asked." His fingers tapped the phone screen. "If I recall correctly, you've never met my mother. Explain why you have her saved as boss." "Why indeed?" "Because Mrs. Miller paid me to straighten out her supposedly gay son. Pure business transaction, employers get labeled accordingly. But I couldn't tell Ethan that." Yawning dramatically, I flashed my most disarming smile. "After learning about us, your mom reached out. She's worried since she can't be here, wanted me to look after you." I painted the portrait of a doting mother, careful to add, "She made me promise not to tell. Knew you'd hate her meddling." As for the contact name, modern mother-in-law conflicts stem from treating them like family. Viewing them as employers? That's the secret, sweet talk while keeping boundaries. "I'm practicing proactive diplomacy." Ethan snorted but seemed appeased. "Don't engage with her." With brutal efficiency, he deleted Mrs. Miller's contact before pinning my wrists above my head. His usual cedarwood scent carried faint traces of sweet grape, Sophia's signature perfume. "Kiss me, Ivy." When I resisted, he claimed my mouth with bruising force. "Stay," he growled between punishing kisses. "No schemes." I nipped his lower lip. "Or what?" "Run," he whispered against my throat. "And I'll hunt you down." His teeth grazed my pulse point. "Make you regret it." I guided his palm over my racing heart. Why would I leave? That night, I mapped every ridge of muscle with nails and teeth. Let him think it passion, he'd never guess this was my swan song. While he slept, I reinstated Mrs. Miller's contact and sent my resignation. Our arrangement had been transactional perfection, she funded my education. I reformed her son. But wealthy matriarchs don't want gold diggers becoming daughters-in-law. My final text blinked sent, mission accomplished. Transfer remaining fees to offshore account. IJ. The game was over. Ethan would wake to cold sheets and colder realizations. Let him hunt, I'd already vanished. True to form, Mrs. Miller readily accepted my resignation letter. Perhaps appreciating my dedication, she threw in an extra $10 million. Overnight, I became a newly minted multimillionaire. That morning, I straightened Ethan's tie as usual. He pressed a habitual kiss to my forehead before leaving. "I'll take you out for a nice dinner tonight," he said, flashing that effortless charm. Wait here for me. I smiled sweetly until his car disappeared, then grabbed my pre-packed luggage and raced to the airport. By afternoon, I was airborne toward France. Let him try to track me down now. As the plane climbed, I kept refreshing my banking app. Each glance at the 8-digit balance filled the hollow ache in my chest. Goodbye forever, Ethan. But fate loves playing tricks on me. I'd assumed Ethan would send search parties the moment I vanished. Yet friends back home reported the Miller family showed no ripple of concern. Of course, why chase yesterday's news when fresh companionship awaited? After 2 carefree weeks abroad, I returned to China and settled in Dali. For once, luck smiled on me, a perfect lakeside rental. A neighbor who spoiled me with homemade meals. Leisurely bike rides around Arai Lake. At the night market, a pink hognose snake caught my eye. Its beady gaze locked onto mine as it slithered up my arm. Look, Mama! That lady's not scared at all, a child exclaimed. I froze. Since when had snakes stopped terrifying me? The answer stung, another thought to suppress. I bought the snake, naming it Pinky. Now I had company for Dolly's firelit festivals. During the Torch Festival in Weishan Village, fireworks exploded overhead while towering flames licked the sky. Locals in traditional attire danced in circles around the bonfire, pulling me into their joyous rhythm. Check out the hottie at 3 o'clock, my friend whispered during the festivities. My blood turned to ice. There he stood, Ethan. Black shirt sleeves rolled up. That rebellious forelock grazing the beauty mark near his eye. My friend teased. Want me to introduce you? I couldn't speak. Why was he here? Was Sophia touring Yunnan with him? The woman who'd replaced me before I'd even left? The bonfire crackled, its heat doing nothing to thaw the frost spreading through my veins. A sour pang twisted in my chest. The memory of Ethan's casual threat before I left New York, I'll find you and end you, sent cold sweat trickling down my spine. Ethan despised deception above all else. I'd witnessed firsthand how he dealt with traitors in his family's financial empire. Though he wouldn't waste resources hunting me down, that didn't mean forgiveness awaited if I stumbled into his path. My breath hitched as his hazel eyes swept across the bonfire crowd. I ducked behind a group of tourists, the neon festival lights casting ominous shadows. Survival instincts kicked in, I needed to vanish before that predatory gaze landed on me. Hey, Ivy! My travel buddy's voice sliced through the drum beats. Half the crowd turned as she yelled. Where you sneaking off to? Acting like a mouse spotting a cat. The firelight caught Ethan's sharp profile as he pivoted toward the commotion. I bolted. Festival bracelets jangling as I wove through packed streets. The humid Mediterranean air clung to my maxi dress as I pedaled furiously back to the coastal villa. Lying in my rented room hours later, I stared at Mrs. Miller's last text glowing on my phone. Our agreement stands. Miss Johnson. Stay away from my son permanently. The steel beneath her polite wording still chilled me. I'd been paid handsomely to ghost Ethan after helping expose his cousin's embezzlement, a business transaction. Nothing more. The ceiling fans couldn't drown out memories whispers, how Ethan's laugh crinkled his eyes during late-night strategy sessions. The citrus scent of his cologne when he'd leaned over my shoulder to check spreadsheets. I shook my head violently, as if dislodging his image. Hunger finally drove me downstairs at midnight. My sandals froze on the terracotta tiles. There, lounging against the vintage reception desk with a Negroni, was Ethan. Moonlight silvered his artfully messy hair as he locked eyes with me, a panther spotting wounded prey. Surprise! My oblivious friend chirped, bulldozing through the tension. Found this hottie stranded at the airport. Isn't he prettier up close? Her elbow jabbed my ribs. Since when does fearless Ivy Johnson blush around guys? Ethan's smirk deepened as she continued. Come on. Let me introduce you properly. Her vice grip on my arm matched her volume. Every cell screamed to run. But his predatory stillness pinned me in place. The game had changed. And we both knew it. Without even asking if I was willing. She yanked me forward and introduced me to Ethan. "This is my good friend, Ivy." Before she could finish, Ethan coolly cut her off. His frosty gaze settled on me as he stated flatly, "Ivy. Long time no see." Perhaps Ethan had some innate affinity with snakes. The moment Xiaofan spotted him, the serpent shot toward his torso, while its tail remained coiled around my wrist. Its head already nudged against Ethan's waist, abruptly closing the distance between us until I could feel his breath stirring my hair. My pulse raced as I tilted my head up. His Adam's apple bobbed visibly, a telltale sign of arousal I remembered well. Yet this time, he only scoffed. "Ivy," he drawled. "What's this? Using your pet to seduce me?" I scrambled to retrieve Xiaofan, but the slippery creature writhed tighter around him instead. Ethan looked down at me with glacial detachment. "Too late. We're done here. I've moved on. Would you like to see a photo?" He tapped his phone screen, thrusting it toward me. Wasn't this supposed to be Sophia? I'd seen her before, yet hearing him confirm it aloud felt like an invisible fist crushing my lungs. My eyes dropped to the screen. The man in the photo had striking features, sharp yet refined, his profile radiating quiet elegance. Wait, man? Since when did Sophia become male? I assumed he'd selected the wrong image until he asked coolly, "Handsome?" Without waiting for response, he patted Xiaofan's head and strode past me, leaving me frozen in the hallway. Hadn't we straightened him out before? Since when did he swing back? At the corridor's bend, he seemed to pause imperceptibly, glancing back with mocking amusement. My phone rang. Mrs. Miller's tearful voice spilled out. She thought Ethan truly loved Sophia after rescuing her from the fighting rings and dismantling the serpentarium. Yet days after my departure, he'd released Sophia only to chase some male photographer to Yunnan. "Please, Ivy," Mrs. Miller begged between sobs. "Help me again." I tried explaining Ethan and I were over, but she bulldozed through objections. "You turned him straight once, you can do it again. Name your price." When I refused, she upped the ante, 500 million. My resolve wavered. "Fine," I conceded. "I'll try." Rifling through my closet, I pulled out a silk chemise that hugged every curve. Ivy adored silk nightgowns, particularly the act of tearing them apart. This dress would suit his taste. After primping before the mirror and pouring a glass of warm milk, I knocked on Ethan's door with Xiaofan in tow. Ethan opened the door, casually glanced at me, and leaned against the doorway with crossed arms. Instead of inviting me in, he asked flatly, "What do you want?" "Your stomach's sensitive. This milk should help soothe it." He thanked me distantly, accepting the glass before moving to shut the door. I discreetly patted Xiaofan. The clever creature darted through the gap, forcing me to feign panic and squeeze inside after her. As Xiaofan scrambled across the floor, I clumsily crouched to catch her, my short nightgown riding up and the plunging neckline revealing fleeting glimpses of skin. From Ethan's vantage point, the view was utterly unobstructed. I knew his preferences well. A month ago, he'd have snapped, tossing me onto the bed single-handed. But now, he merely lounged against the wall, drawling, "Ivy, your seduction act needs work." I froze mid-motion, slowly turning. He crooked a finger. "Come here." The moment I stood before him, he closed the distance until our noses brushed, his stray hairs tickling my skin. Why the act? There's only one correct answer to that. Meeting his gaze steadily, I said, "Because I like you." "Really?" He snorted, abruptly stepping back. "Ever heard a good horse doesn't graze where it's already been? What makes you think I'd want someone who threw me away?" Without waiting for rebuttal, he ejected me. When the door reopened minutes later, I hoped for reconciliation, only to receive Xiaofan dumped into my arms. The shower roared behind him, lasting a full wasteful hour. Clutching my pet, I sighed. The blank slate Ethan had been easier to manipulate. But $500 million. I'd persist. 4 days. I lingered near his suite. He never budged. Not even opening his door. Yet I recognized the subtle satisfaction beneath his indifference. He relished watching me orbit him fruitlessly. So I vanished. Departing before dawn. Returning after midnight. Neighbors. Yet 5 days passed without crossing paths. On the 6th night, I hit a neon-lit bar, splurging $5K on 3 male models, one with wolf ears, another in arm garters and suspenders, the third shirtless. As bass throbbed, I filmed their gyrating forms for social media, beckoning the wolf-eared boy closer. I smeared lipstick on his collar and whispered instructions. 15 minutes later, the VIP room door crashed open. There I sat, being massaged, fed grapes, and entertained by shirtless leg-sweeping dances as Ethan stood framed in the doorway. Ethan stormed in with a thunderous expression. I greeted him cheerfully. What brings you here, Ethan? Perfect timing. We've got plenty of hunks tonight. Pick any two you like, my treat. I gestured at the crowded room. Ethan grabbed my wrist to pull me off the couch. A young man with wolf ears blocked him firmly. Sir, Ivy has paid for premium service. Don't interrupt her fun. His gaze froze on the lipstick stain on the boy's collar. Across the room, the dancer grinding against me pressed my palm against his bulging pecs. When Ethan moved to intervene, the grape feeder shoved peeled fruit into his mouth. Sweetheart, the dancer purred. We could tell you're not that straight. Which of us would you like to visit tomorrow? I'm fucking straight. Ethan roared, shoving him away. He hurled a wad of cash at the door. Get out! The trio scrambled after the scattered bills. Ethan slammed the door shut and pinned me against the cushions. What's your game? His breath came ragged. Why'd you stop coming to me? I smiled sweetly. You kept giving me the cold shoulder. Found new entertainment. That's all. His laugh sounded brittle as icicles. Brilliant. Ivy. You're absolutely brilliant. His fingers dug into my wrists. You chase me. You ditch me. Am I just your plaything? What exactly did I play with? I batted my lashes. You never cared anyway. How could I possibly? His mouth crashed against mine, all teeth and desperation. I tasted blood but didn't resist. My traitorous body arched toward him, starved for contact after weeks apart. When he finally pulled back, his eyes glistened. Do you even have a heart? You're one to talk. I shot back. You never came looking. His grip tightened. You lied. This whole time, you were working for my mother. The accusation deflated me. Since when? That boss contact name? His bitter chuckle raised goosebumps. Mom would never let some girl near me without vetting. She paid you, didn't she? $5 million to seduce her son? Mrs. Miller's shadow loomed between us. Ethan described how she'd groomed all her children like show poodles, approving only blue-blooded friends. Arranging strategic marriages. Even childhood playdates got vetted for designer labels. That day at the amusement park, his throat bobbed. She made security check those kids' clothes tags before letting me play. Told me Miller heirs don't mingle with discount store trash. The confession hung heavy. My designer heels suddenly felt like prison shackles. Perhaps out of rebellion, they both took paths diverging from Mrs. Miller's expectations. You weren't the type my mother would approve of. So I knew you were lying from the start. Ethan lowered his gaze at me. Actually, I wanted to tell you something that day. I meant to say I brought Sophia back from the underground fight club. This addressed the question lingering in my mind. What exactly is your relationship with Sophia? None. She was merely useful. His fingers traced patterns on the table. My mother controls the family fortune. To make her accept you, I needed someone she'd consider worse than you. Sophia's background made her the perfect contrast piece, the kind of girl my mother despises most. I leaked rumors about moving her into the estate. Even emptied the reptile room for her, expecting my mother's outrage. But contrary to Ethan's calculations, Mrs. Miller not only approved but encouraged the arrangement. Her bizarre reaction coupled with my deception made Ethan suspicious. He launched an investigation that uncovered my true motive to convert him, claim the money, and disappear. Caught red-handed, I averted my eyes. No wonder you never came looking. You already knew. Mr. Miller, my apologies. But the $50 million stays with me per our contract. My voice shook, recalling Ethan's ironclad rule: he never forgave deception. With the $500 million dream shattered, I edged toward the exit. His arm shot out, pinning me against the wall. Ivy, are you truly this dense? His laughter held no humor. You think pocket change could make me let you go? Don't you realize that by my side, half my assets would be yours? Before I could process this, his lips descended, trailing fire down my neck. Wait, what? During our separation, you toured France, Netherlands, Belgium, complained about French cuisine, nearly fought a Dutch shopkeeper, got lost in Brussels. His teeth grazed my collarbone. Did you imagine I'd sit idle after discovering your scheme with my mother? I tracked your every move. A sharp pinch at my waist made me yelp. Notice how smoothly everything went in Dolly? The rental matched your Pinterest boards. The private chef came with Michelin credentials. But how? You mentioned wanting to live there years ago. His thumb brushed my lower lip. While you enjoyed your bohemian fantasy, I pretended interest in men, manipulating my mother into reconnecting with you. A smirk appeared. Knew my little gold digger would bite when she dangled cash. His skilled hands reduced me to liquid desire. As flames licked through my veins, I rasped. Then why reject me when I came back? Darling, don't be greedy. His thumb ground into my cheekbone. You lied for months. Letting you sweat a few days was fair play. But you, his breath scorched my ear, couldn't even last a week before chasing that gym rat. The warning came velvet soft. Did I not say I'd destroy you if you ran? Ethan kept his promise. Dawn found us bathed in golden light from Lonkin Wharf. My body screaming protest. The man possessed inexhaustible stamina, recent abstinence fueling his frenzy. No amount of pleading slowed him. As sunlight gilded the lake, he finally stilled. Ivy, setting money aside, do you love me? He covered my mouth before I answered. Let me first. I love you. The marry you. Build a life kind. Your turn. He reconsidered. Actually, keep the money angle. My fortune's bottomless anyway. His vulnerability shocked me. Ivy, could you try loving me back? The python chose this moment to slither over, coiling around us like living rope. The sky outside the window brightened, and Ethan's eyes sparkled with quiet anticipation. I arched up to wrap my arms around his waist. Yeah. I murmured against his skin. I love you too. His breath hitched when I repeated the words we'd exchanged countless times before. Realizing I was jealous, that's when I knew. But this time, his reaction felt different, desperate and all-consuming. I still couldn't fathom where Ethan found such relentless energy. His teeth grazed my earlobe as he confessed. That night you came to me in pajamas? I wanted to rip them off right then. When my nails scored his back in retaliation, he merely chuckled darkly, his voice roughened by desire. Say it properly. Sweetheart. Call me husband. I stubbornly pressed my lips together. Instead of pushing further, Ethan simply crushed me against his chest until our heartbeats synchronized. Hate being lied to, he admitted against my hair. But for you? I'd walk into every trap willingly. Mrs. Miller summoned me for tea the following week. Knowing what Ethan had endured under her suffocating love made me view her diamond-studded composure differently now. She cut straight to the chase. Ivy. Will you marry my son? My tea sprayed across the bone china. Name your price. She added hastily, dabbing at her Dior skirt with a monogrammed napkin. Generous. I set down the cup with deliberate calm. But this isn't about money. Her manicured fingers trembled around her teaspoon. After you left last time. There were men. Ivy. So many men. The admission seemed to physically pain her. Stay. Keep him like this. I'll wire 10 million monthly bonus on top of the original $500 million. Year-end profit sharing. Whatever you want. It took everything not to laugh. Ethan had proposed properly 3 days prior, kneeling on Dolly's covered bridge at twilight, offering a sapphire the size of a quail egg. My left hand still felt foreign with its new weight. But watching Mrs. Miller's trembling lipstick line, I simply smiled. Deal. Ethan laughed until tears came when I told him later. My little gold digger. He teased, transferring another $1 million into my offshore account. Our reunited snake companions coiled around us as he spoke, Pinky draped over his shoulders while emerald twined through my hair. Their tails knotted together around our joined hands. Later, when his lips found the hollow beneath my ear, I finally whispered it, the title he'd craved. His answering embrace sealed our silent pact, two fractured souls choosing to walk the same path forward, wherever it might lead.